The artificial delay to every action, the hard lock actually not locking enemies in frame, and the very repeating boss fights. Crimson Desert combat system is below what you expect from a game that is centered on combat and on exploration. Here's why I think so, but before we get into that, I have to say this. I really don't like Souls-like games. I don't like the combat. It's way too slow. I always call them action turn-based games. The reason why is when you want to do any kind of action, the game says, no bro, I'm still on the button that you told me to press yesterday. Yeah, I'm still clicking on that button. So you're gonna wait a few business days and then I'm gonna be free to press on the next button. I don't like the game for that specific reason. It's way too slow and the game kind of locks you into animations when in reality you can stop doing whatever you want and just, you don't have to finish a whole animation. You can cancel it midway through. So it feels very restrictive, but not the fun kind of restrictive. So back to Crimson Desert's combat. The major hindrance for the combat to be truly enjoyable in my opinion is the artificial delay that is added through every action in order to force the combat and the gameplay to feel way heavier and less floaty, because the entire combat system is built on combos and very fast-paced action. So they have to ground you somewhat so it doesn't feel like you're just floating about, just sliding all over the place. Take the dodge roll, for example. Let's ignore the fact that if you want to do perfect dodges, it's gonna cost you mana and not stamina, which is very weird, but it is what it is. The roll itself has a very small half step that Cliff does right before he starts rolling for reasons that I really don't know about. I have rolled once or twice in my life. There is no need to take a step right before you're rolling. And yes, I asked some random dude to film me rolling in the park. Another good example for the delay on the skills is things like Force Palm. It's a move which after you use it, there's like a brief second where Cliff's just wondering about his life decision before actually returning to the fight. It's very strange. Now, all of this delay wouldn't be such of a problem if the game didn't seem to be, like I said previously, focused on fast-paced combo-style gameplay. Standing inside a group of enemies while you're using all of your tools, your skills, your attacks to get rid of them one by one in quick succession is fun. But you will also find the second problem right there. If you try to play inside a group of enemies, there is a very high likelihood you will get stun locked by the enemies. If you combine that with the delayed response from the player's input, from the inconsistency of dodges, that sometimes they are not rolls but actually like half steps without the roll, that's another thing to do. If you take all of those things together at the same time, what it kind of leads to is it encourages you to play cowardly. It encourages you to play hit and runs or to try and abuse the NPC's AI. It doesn't feel fun. It doesn't feel enjoyable to use the combat system. I don't want to abuse the enemy AI in Crimson Desert in order to win the fight. I don't want to abuse the AI of the NPCs in any game. It's just not fun. Overall, the combat is very similar to Where Winds Meet, just like I said, with an artificial delay through every action. Getting on a horse, attacking, blocking, dodging, everything has a delay to it. The one place where both games don't really overlap in the combat system is with the hard lock mechanic, or lock-on mechanic, not necessarily a hard lock. Because for some strange reason, the lock-on mechanic does not lock on. It roughly keeps the enemy in your screen somewhere. It doesn't make him centered in your frame. It doesn't do anything like that. It also doesn't make your dude face the guy. So because there's going to be a lot of times like arena style gameplays, especially in bosses, where there's going to be like henchmen on the sides of the fight, Cliff is going to actually be facing the henchman and not the main guy. So sometimes you'll try to attack the henchman instead of the main dude, the main boss, and you will lose an attack. Then you gotta wait for the next opportunity to attack. It is super simple, super stupid, and the lock-on exists for a reason. So I don't know why it doesn't, well, lock on. There's also some pet peeves of mine, things that I don't find enjoyable personally, maybe you don't either. especially, for example, the tower shield. Whenever you use the tower shield, if you're not actively blocking, your shield is going to be on your back. He's not going to hold the shield with one hand and then the sword with another hand for some strange reason. That's another thing. You have to use your smaller shields, your kite shields. You cannot use the tower shield and a sword at the same time. Oh, and I guess I better explain why this matters, right? The reason why is because of the animation. He takes Cliff longer to take the shield from his back and put it in front of him to block, rather than just lift the shield and block with it, what you usually do when you have a shield in your hand. So there's another additional delay on top of your regular delay when you're trying to block with the tower shield. So that's, I guess, something you should know. But even with me saying all of this, this does not mean that the gameplay is complete dog shit and the combat is just horrible, terrible. There's no saving graces here. No, there's some cool things. The skill tree, for example, is pretty interesting. All the combo systems or the things you need to do, like from a weapon attack into a melee attack, into your skills, back into melee to dodge, those things are very fun. The main problem is the transition between all of them. And I guess the second thing I really like in this game is the fact that you can heal at any time. I can't stress enough how much I hate being animation locked. I can't stress this enough how much I hate being forced into an animation lock. So healing whenever you can in a rhythm combat game like this one, where flow matters, is truly enjoyable. However, yes, we're going back to the negative. I just can't ignore the following things. No matter what you do, I just can't overlook those. Bosses, for example, especially those with a few phases, they just repeat the same skills for 3 phases. It's not unique, it's not interesting, it's just repetitive. Let's take the Big Ape, for example, or the Stag Lord, right? Both of them are a very good example. Each one of them are a very basic 3-move kit. They basically have 3 skills they can use, and then on the last stage of their life, they have 3 phases. On the last phase, they each get like one additional, like one hit combo thing that can kill you. That's pretty much it. Now, the way you get those 3 phases, it's not really justified. Usually when you have 3 phases, phase means something changes, right? It doesn't mean there is an animation that you block one attack, I block one attack, we just exchange blows, and then we continue on to the next health bar. That's not what a phase means. A phase means something happens, something triggered, and then you change into something else. If it doesn't happen, there is no justification for a second phase or a third phase. I think games like Monster Hunter, or the game that gets cancelled, similar game, I forgot what it's called, but whenever you cut like the monster's tail, something changes in the way the boss fights, and this justifies a second or a third phase. But if you're fighting the same thing with the same moveset, why do I need to fight the same boss 3 times in order to finally put him down? That's what I'm saying. Just make it one long bar. It doesn't matter. It's the same thing. The animations in between doesn't make this like any different. Difficulty, boss difficulty especially, is very artificial. There's no like real difficult mechanics. You simply need to go farm some ores until your weapon hit the level that fits for this specific boss. There is no brain power. Like I said, the kits are very like 3-hit combos. It's very simple to understand what the boss does. It's very hard to get Cliff to do what you want him to do. Oh, and there is no difficulty slider. So let's say you don't want to farm for hours just to defeat like a very basic like 3-hit combo boss. There is no thing you can do. You have to go and farm until you get the correct things, or just memorize the boss. That's, I guess, also something you can do. But I don't like memorizing combat systems. We can talk about this in another time. I don't feel like it's skill based. It's very like, oh, play enough times and you'll win. There's no difficulty here. And as a cherry on top of this nice situation gameplay system, when you're trying to retry the boss after you die, there's gonna be a 21-second loading screen just to respawn you and the boss with full health in the same arena again. Now, why I don't know that. Now you could say, hey, they need to load everything again. Yeah, sure, but not really, because if you press Q instead of pressing R to retry, you just live on the spot, the boss is back to whatever it was, and you can just continue from there. Why can't we just fill up my health bar and the boss's health bar and we can redo the whole thing? Why do we have to reload the entire game again and just wait for 21 seconds? It just feels kind of like a waste of time to me. Oh, and I guess I'm just getting reminded of things. Whenever you die, you go back to using the main weapon and not the weapon you use. So let's say use the two-handed spear or two-handed weapon. That's not going to happen. You're going to be, right as you coming back and respawning, you're going to be using your main sword and shield instead of the second-handed weapon. You're going to have to switch into the second-handed weapon, and then you can continue from there. And if the boss is right in front of you, and right as you're loading in, he's coming in to attack, well, that's kind of your problem, not the game's. Unfortunately, the list of problems doesn't really end here. There's another very major flaw, and that's the camera. Sometimes fighting against the camera makes a very simple boss into a super nightmare encounter. Just check this Spider Queen fight that I had, for example. She basically had a 3-kit attack again. 1, she can just carpet bomb you from the sky, just annihilate you from the sky and just maybe one-shot you if you don't move. 2, she can jump at you and ragdoll you. And 3, she charges at you from a long distance and then pushes you backwards. Now, she does all of this while her little one-hit spiderlings try to attack your knees. They're very simple. The fight in general is very simple, but it's the hardest fight in the game, I guess, to a point, because right now I have a different fight that is my hardest fight. It's the sword something. I don't know what his name is. It's kind of some kind of a ruins, but again, we'll talk about it in a future video. I just kind of brute forced that fight with a bunch of items and healing, and that's it. It was pretty terrible. And I guess to end, we can talk about one more thing. That's the mini games. Only the combat system minigames. I'm not talking about all the other minigames. Basically the arm wrestling and the unarmed arena. I won't mention the other ones. Again, they're not really combat related. The arm wrestling can be pretty much completed with an auto clicker. There's not much brain needed for that. It's pretty simple. And the unarmed arena is super restrictive. When I first started fighting in it and trying it, I lost maybe like 10 times in a row, but I actually just one-shotted my opponent. But it took me a second to realize that you cannot sprint, you cannot kick, you cannot do anything that is not right mouse button, left mouse button, or block. It's very simple, it's very basic, it's very boring. It's not unarmed arena, it's armed arena, because you can only use your arms and that's pretty much it. You cannot use any other body part, you cannot do anything 1 inch above what they allow you, or you instantly lose. And once you realize how to play, it's so simple, you can defeat anybody in less than 5 seconds. And it becomes very boring after like a few seconds of learning, oh yeah, that's what I need to do. Boom, easy. What I actually want to get through to you this entire video is when I play other games, I'm going to use again Warwinds Meet as an example. I feel like when I lost, when I miss a parry, when I dodge not in time, I feel like it's my fault. When I'm playing Crimson Desert, I don't feel like whenever I'm missing something that it's my fault, because I pressed the button, but Clef takes like 5 years to react to whatever I did, so it doesn't really feel like I made a mistake. And I guess that's more like my bias with these things, because I really don't like restrictive games, heavy animation games like this one or Souls-likes, because they force you so much to stay in one place. It's very slow, but I guess that's just me. And this is why I believe that Crimson Desert's combat system level is way below what I expected, what you should expect, and way below what I'm hearing other people talking about online, like how amazing the combat is. I really don't understand where this is coming from, but maybe this is simply just not for me. But anyway, I've played obviously the game for like what, 60-70 hours, and this video only talked about the combat, and I can already tell that I'm gonna have a lot of things to say about the rest of the things in the world building and the lore and whatnot. So you can expect some more videos from me in this game or on this game. But yeah, but that being said, I hope you enjoyed this one. If you did, thank you. If you didn't, let me know why, so I can improve. Besides, keep safe, and I'll see you next one. Bye bye.